My weird ass life. I am 14 and live in Florida, and I just wanted to fully tell my story. I've never told anyone about my life. So starting from the beginning, I lived in southern Florida for around 3 to 4 years, but moved to Tallahassee, Florida around 2014. And I lived between my mom and dad's house. My parents have been divorced since I was born. My mom lived about 2 hours away and had me and my sister during the week, while my dad lived in the city and had us during the weekend. So during the week we would drive 2 hours to school every day. I lived in a small town. It's very strange and run down. Skip forward to about 2017. My dad had gotten breast cancer and lived with my grandma, and so did I in the weekends. So 2018 comes around, my dad's cancer gets worse and eventually he passes when I was around 9. When my father passed, my mom kinda spiraled and her depression and bipolar disorder had obviously gotten worse. She met a guy in a dating app around 2019 and he had gotten my mom onto substances. My mother's bipolar disorder and paranoia was at an all-time high. She was convinced Judgment Day was coming and put me and my sister in a car and drove us to Alabama. And we stayed in a hotel while my mom was trying to find the spaceship that was coming out of the earth and leaving mankind behind. She thought we had to get on the ship before the world ends. And her boyfriend was fueling this all. I haven't mentioned my sister much yet, but at this time, we only had each other. We started being closer around then. Me and my sister convinced her to break up with him, and that got her off the substances. She got much better around 2020, but when Trump got elected into office, my mom was convinced that Trump was going to start a civil war and kill us. So she got us to pack up our stuff and tried to go to Canada to flee the country, but obviously it's 2020 prime COVID and the borders were closed. She knew this, but she was just hoping they would let us in though. She thought they would let us in looking back, but we got turned away, so we drove back home from Canada to Florida. After that my life was pretty normal for a while, but my mom hated the city we lived in, so we moved to Central FL in 2022. The first week here my mom went to the club and got drunk and jumped. She came home at 4 a.m. bloody and bruised and slurring her words. My sister had to bathe her. Once we moved, me and my sister basically were best friends, and we still are. Now I've lived here for 2 years and my life has gotten more normal, but I needed to share my story. I've never told anyone about my past.